Greetings all. Hope everyone is having a good day. Today I don't have much to talk about. But I wanted to touch on a topic that I've had on my mind for quite some time, which is with regards to energy vampires. We watch movies on Netflix or whatever streaming platform that you may have, whereby there's always this group of people that can only come out during the night. They suck blood and they feed off people's blood. And if I may look at that perspective, the way I interpret it, it's basically telling me that, or in relation to what I'm about to just to touch on, it goes back to the whole concept of energy. In physics, I'm not sure if it is Einstein or Newton, but there's a law that says energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can only be transferred. So we live during a time where people are going through hardships, and some of the hardships that they don't understand, or some of the hardships that they're going through, they cannot explain. A lot of people, they pray. In African tradition, especially here in the South, people buy a phahla. People do all sorts of things to bring themselves out of those life hardships. Some of the challenges that we go through, we are meant to go through because that's part of the journey that we are meant to travel in order to reach our destination. But some of the challenges that we come across are, how can I put it, man-made, or they are manifested out of darkness. I shared a piece around knowing who you are and knowing which path you're traveling on. And in every single individual, there is a light and a dark energy. And depending on which energy you're feeding, that energy is going to attract similar or likeness towards itself. And it's always going to push you in that direction. So I was just thinking now, and I was just laying down, thinking about on the dark side, the different manifestations and the different tricks that people play in order to gain success in life, in order to get ahead in life, or just out of pure evil, for the lack of a better word. Such things as energy vampires, most people may think, oh, there's no such thing as a vampire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So I don't believe for 1 second that people in Hollywood or wherever created all these movies, or different tribes across the whole world go around saying the same story and telling similar stories just because they are bored. There's absolutely no such. So when coming to the topic of energy vampires, I'm referring to a group of individuals. It can be a friend, it can be a relative, it can be a partner, or just, a stranger. But when it comes to strangers are people that we just meet on a once-off occasion and then we never get to meet them again. But there are those group of people that always are very close within our circle of influence, whereby they have access to information and they can see exactly what is going on in our lives, whether it be by them just observing how we live our lives, or whether it be by them hearing about the things that we share. Because there comes a time when, as an individual, you get very, very comfortable with certain people in your circle. And if you are not very cautious, you tend to overshare about the things that are happening in your life, to a point whereby you don't even realize that the people that you're sharing to don't necessarily have your best interest at heart. I remember once upon a time in my life, there was this one lady that I had been in a relationship with for quite some time, and the relationship had ended badly. And I had moved on. I was expecting my child with my new lady, and out of the blue, this lady says to me, sends me an email and says to me, "I've heard about your illness and I know that you are strong enough to overcome it." At that time I'm getting this email, I'm busy at work, I'm doing a presentation. Not understanding where all of this is coming from, my natural instinct was to get frustrated, because I was like to myself, I've moved on from whatever we had. I've started something new, something that I'm happy about, and I'm in a good space. Why now do you suddenly come and disturb my peace? But later on, as I was sitting by myself, I'm thinking to myself, how on earth did you hear about this illness? And the illness that I had at the point in time, I hadn't even told anyone about it, because my whole life I've always been very protective about my personal space. I'm very cautious about who I share personal information with. I'm very cautious about the people that I surround myself with. If it means literally just isolating myself from a lot of people, so be it. But I prefer to be in a peaceful space where I'm comfortable and I'm not always on the lookout and trying to figure out, okay, what's going to happen next. That's not the energy to go through life with. You know, you must always be in a good space, in a peaceful space, and move with love and happiness. So this lady was like to me, I know what's going on with your life, and I know you're going to get through it. And I was sitting there, I was like, how on earth do you know? Because we haven't spoken for like years. So, to cut a long story short, with regards to energy vampires, people have a way of looking into our lives. Some use certain rituals, certain practices to kind of like check, where is this individual going? And depending on the results they get, or depending on the observations that they make, you know, you may share about a business deal that you're working on, that you would like to start a business and something that you're working on, and they may feel that the day you become successful, out of jealousy and spite, you may surpass them, and they would want to do anything and everything just to derail your plans. So you always need to be very cautious about the kind of people that you surround yourself with, the energies that you surround yourself with, because it's not a very distant influence, if I may put it like that. Those kind of tricks, those kind of challenges don't come from people or strangers in many cases. It's very, very close to home. And it's, in many cases, in my experience, it kind of like comes from people that we share our most intimate and deepest stories and secrets with. And with regards to energy vampires, it doesn't have to be supernatural. At times you may find that you would be working with somebody or you are friends with somebody, and that's the person that whenever you have challenges in your life, you confide in. Friend, I'm having financial problems, this and that. And this person will give you advice depending on what energy drives them. If it's an energy of darkness, if it is an energy of not willing to build but to destroy, they'll give you whatever the advice they give you. And depending on how you react to it, you will take that advice. If you're one person who gets swayed by the wind, you will take that advice and you run with it as if it's, gospel. Until a point where you're going to realize later on in life, like, actually, I was being misled. Some people can sit and laugh and smile with you, deep down knowing very, very well that whatever influence they're trying to impart on your life is not positive. Whatever it is that they're trying to tell you or whatever guidance they're willing to give you, it's not positive, it doesn't build your character, and it doesn't shape you as a person, an upright person. Instead, it brings you down in terms of your levels of vibration and leaves you in a space where they are at. Because negative energy is always over a lower vibration. But if someone can see this person is radiant, this person has a bright future, this person has clear goals, this person is heading somewhere. Yes, you may not be where you are heading yet, but they can see that given the opportunity, you will get there. They will do things that will mess up those plans, only for you to realize later on that actually I shouldn't have taken that path. I shouldn't have listened to that advice. But then again, we are human beings, We make mistakes. It's part of growing. And I think in terms of being on our growth path, it's always important to acknowledge the mistakes that we make in life. It's always important to acknowledge the wrongs that we've done. It's always important to hold ourselves accountable. Because until we do that, you never actually grow. And you run the risk of repeating the same mistake later on in life. It may not be in the same situation, but you run the risk of repeating the same mistake later on in life. So the best thing that you can do for yourself is to hold yourself accountable, to say, okay, in this instance I was wrong, I should have done this instead of that. In this instance I was wrong, I should have went this way instead of going that way. And actually forgive yourself. We all get given a second chance in life. And I mentioned in my previous monologue that there's nothing that sucks the most as asking the question or saying to yourself, if only I had done this. People come into our lives for various reasons. Some come into our lives just as a test, some come into our lives as a lesson. So it is crucial that when going through life, we understand that there will come a time where certain people will test where you stand. Whether are you just wavering or whether you are a well-grounded individual. people will come into our lives with different kinds of energy, and they would take from the energy and the light that we have in order to better themselves, in order to feed whatever they want to feed, whatever spirit they would be wanting to feed within themselves. So once you realize and you open your eyes and you listen to your inner voice, you listen to your gut feeling that actually I'm oversharing. Yesterday this person was not on a good space with me. They were not very cordial. They were not friendly towards me. Now all of a sudden this person is like a best friend. You need to ask yourself why. Why all of a sudden that a person that for a long period of time you've known very well or deep down that the energy they bring is negative, and all of a sudden they do a 360 turn. What is it that's happening in your life that's giving them joy and attracting you to them or attracting them to you, bringing them closer towards you and making them feel comfortable that we are in the same space? It's like someone who comes and says, I've never been a person who steals. I've never been driven to steal, but because I met this friend of mine and he said, let's go and steal a car and do X, Y, and Z, I went along and I did it, and I found myself in jail. That energy of stealing, hence I said everybody has a light and a dark energy. That energy of stealing has always been there. And at that point in time, you just decided to act on it. We all have a choice whereby whatever situation, whatever opportunity which may present itself, you have a choice to either participate and go with it, or you have a choice to say, this doesn't resonate with me, this is not who I am, and go the other way. Yes, the other way might be a hard way, as opposed to stealing that car and selling it and getting whatever monies you may get it. But from my experience, the other way has always worked out for me. As hard as it may have been, it's only later when I look back, I was like, okay, there I dodged a huge bullet. I'm grateful to be where I'm at. So when going through your life, pay attention to the people that are around you. Pay attention to the energies that they bring to you. What energy, what vibe, what are they imparting onto you? What seeds are they planting in your mind? What seeds are they planting in your life? And also just understand, whatever seed that you plant out of influence from whatever energies, one day you will bear those fruits. Is it a fruit that you will enjoy, or is it a fruit that you will live to regret? So energy vampires are all around us, but like I said, it's always very, very close to home. One day I'll share in a greater length my journey through spirituality, where things literally got kicked off. It was about 9 years ago where things literally got kicked off. At that point in time, and I would say for the most about 5 to 7 years, I didn't understand what was going on, and I'll go from healer to healer, church to church, until it came to a point where I decided, let me switch off the outside noise, let me block the outside energies, because some energies may be positive, some energies may be negative. I cannot tell the difference. Let me switch all of that off and start looking within and listen to what my intuition tells me. And in a space of, I would say, 3 months, I've traveled further in terms of my spiritual growth than I have in a space of 3 to 4 years of moving from one point to the other, trying to seek help and assistance and prosperity and happiness in a space of 3 months. And it didn't really take much for me to get there. It only took for me to realize that the only assistance and energy that I needed was within me all the time. But all these years, I've probably gone through or come across a dozen energy vampires who were trying to dim my light, trying to channel me into a direction which I was not meant to go. But there comes a time when you have to switch off the outside noises and look within, because it's only from there that you'll find the answers that you need, and your spirit will guide you into the direction that you need to go. For me, my spirit has never led me astray. I've always found myself in places where I need to be. In those negative spaces that I've been, I've gained a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience. I know how to deal with such going forward. So there's no such a thing as a coincidence. Oh, this just happened. I was going somewhere and I happened to bump into a person. I was watching a movie and I happened to see this piece or hear this song that, spoke to me. There's no such a thing as a coincidence. We just need to learn to pay more attention to the messages that we get given. Switch off the outside noises and focus within. You'll be surprised at the distance you would cover with regards to your life journey. You'll get further than you've ever been before. You'll find the greatest peace. Like in the movie, the cartoon movie Kung Fu Panda, where they talk about inner peace, inner peace. For years I never understood what on earth that means until, quite recently, where you find yourself at ease. Everything around you might be burning, but you are just at ease. Nothing shakes you, nothing moves you, nothing disturbs you, nothing upsets you, nothing troubles you. When someone comes with a positive energy, you respond with a positive energy. When someone comes to you with a negative energy, you respond with a positive energy. Your emotions and your spirit is just flowing and it's just calm. But the moral of the story is you need to stay abreast of your own life. You need to be cognizant of the fact that there are energies out there which are not necessarily meant to build and groom you into becoming the king or the queen that you're meant to be, but they are there to keep you vibrating at a lower level. The world is heading into a space which a lot of people are not going to be able to understand. Some people will stay behind and remain vibrating at that lower energy, and some people will rise above. Hence, you will see people living your life. Some people will come into your life. Lightness attracts likeness. Light goes to light, dark goes to dark. So depending on whichever energy that you're feeding, that's the energy that you will attract. And you just have to live with the side effects. It's like taking medication. You just have to live with the side effects of that energy. So stay blessed. Have an awesome day, and just look around you and understand who are you surrounding yourself with, and ensure that you guard your energy with your life. Stay blessed.